Hi there everyone, your pal Ral here with some more Pokemon Platinum. So this episode is going to be a little bit different. This episode is going to be about forming a team for the Battlefront here. I'm not going to be using my in-game team that I've been using throughout this entire journey, but I have done a ton of research on Pokemon that I feel would be best to use for my run through the Battlefront here. So that's what I'm going to do. Over on my other copy of Platinum, I bred some eggs. I never talked to you. Huh. But yeah, I bred some eggs, and I'm trading them over here. I'm going to be documenting the entire process, from hatching the eggs, to Evie training, to getting them the right moves, and just making sure they are completely ready for the Battlefront here. So this is going to be exciting because these are all Pokemon I really like using, and I've used two of them before in previous runs through the Battlefront here. So yeah, anyways, just talk to younger me from 2009. Since I already completed the National Pokedex in my original copy of Pokemon Platinum, I have pretty much everything needed to be bred. Now, all of the competitive stuff that I raised in that in my original copy of Platinum, they were pretty much transferred over to later games, except for like a few things, but I was able to at least breed a few things, so that's gonna be nice. Also, the reason why my team here is not what it is from like previous episodes is because I'm getting a really big head start on this. So for context sake, earlier today I bred the eggs in my other copy of Platinum, and right now, in terms of like where the Let's Play file is at, which it won't matter by the time this episode comes out, but I have just made it to Candlelave City, which is why I don't have Exia, I don't have Bakugo fully evolved, or Cosmos, things like that. So yeah, but this is going to be just spread out over a bit, because I want to make sure I prepare for this, not like at the very last minute, because doing that over time would just be a lot easier. Also, my Pokemon are they're not nicknamed in my original copy of Platinum, because I didn't start nicknaming Pokemon until, I want to say, till Soul Silver came out, but whatever. So these three eggs, I'm going to be hatching them. I don't want to travel all the way to Solaceon Town. I'm just going to travel around where I'm at. Right now, I'm at Sandgem Town, because I was going to that house in Route 221 to see if I could get like the Black Belt, Expert Belt, and Focus Sash off screen. Haven't been able to yet, but I probably will by the time episode 36 actually comes out, which again, this whole continuity thing doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because this episode is going to be coming out way after episode 36. But yeah, there's only one more egg to trade, and I'll keep them. Oh, this Bibarel that I caught is holding an item. It's not the same Bibarel that I've been using for HM purposes throughout the Let's Play. It's an entirely different one that I caught off screen, or it might have been one that I caught in the Safari Zone. I don't remember. Nope. Or actually, let me take a look when the Pokeball. Actually, no. Whenever you trade, it always just shows the default Pokeball sprite. So, or that's not really a sprite. That's more like a model. Whatever. But yeah, that's 3 eggs here. And it's a good thing that Bakugo has Flame Body, because that just means these eggs will hatch quicker for me. I mean, it won't matter because I'll just be cutting ahead to when each of these eggs hatch, but still. And as for the movesets and things like that, movesets, EVs, and other things. I'm not really too particular about the Ivies for this, just because that's just too much work to breed for. But everything else I am going to be talking about whenever I get around to Evie training each of those Pokemon. And because I don't have Pokerus or a Macho Brace, this is gonna take a while, but whatever. So let's get to hatching these eggs. Okay, so the first egg is hatching. I'm not sure which one this is gonna be. I mean, I know what Pokemon I bred, but as for the order that they're hatching, oh! Okay, so this one is Mudkip. So out of the Pokemon that I bred for, the other two are Pokemon that you can get through Platinum just normally by catching or whatever. Mudkip is the only one that would need to be traded or transferred over from a different game, but Mudkip is just a really, really good Pokemon, so forgive me for using a Pokemon that you can't normally get in Platinum, but I also feel like using my favorite Pokemon in the Battlefront here would be really fun, because its evolved form Swampert is one of my favorite Pokemon. Anyways, let's get to hatching the other two. And here is egg number 2. Which one is this? Which one is it? Oh, Scyther. Now, Scizor in the 4th generation competitively was an absolute beast, and I absolutely love using it. So having a Scizor for my Battle Frontier team, I mean, I've always used Scizor in the Battle Frontier, but yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. Anyways, for nickname, you are gonna be nicknamed Casval. The reason why I nickname my Mudkip Axel is because it's a shortened form of Axolotl, which, I mean, Mudkip does share some similarities with it, or with an Axolotl. But Casval, it's a bit of a reference to Gundam. And, okay, all that's left is the last egg. And here is the last egg. Now this one took a bit of a longer time to hatch, but it's a Gibble. So, Gibble is going to have the nickname, let's see, Ryoga. Not Ryofa, Ryoga. Because I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Not as much as other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, but there's a character there whose nickname is Shark, and his Japanese name is Ryoga. So having a land shark take on that nickname, I think, is fitting. So here are... Do you have Surf? So here are the Pokemon that I bred. Mudkip. As you can see, I don't have the national dex yet, so its Pokedex number is just question mark, question mark, question mark. But, I mean, later on, it's gonna be number 258. And this one has a modest nature, with the moves Tackle, Growl, Ice Beam, and Surf. Oh! Okay, that makes sense, because the Swampert that I bred it from had Surf and Ice Beam. So it passed those along, which means I don't need to grind for an Ice Beam TM, which, I mean, I already have one. So all that grinding I did earlier for an Ice Beam TM in the game corner was not necessary. Oh, whatever. And then Ryoga is a Jolly nature, which increases speed, lowers special attack, and Modest increases special attack, lowers attack. And then Casval here is an Adamant nature, which increases attack and lowers special attack. Now, these are all the moves that they have right now, like their moves and stats, which are incredibly basic because they're level 1, but with some Evie training, they will become a force to be reckoned with. But I'll do that some other time, because Evie training is going to take a bit of time. So now that those 3 have hatched, there's one last thing I want to do before I actually begin Evie training them, and that involves this Kecleon. this Kecleon that I traded over from my other copy of Platinum to get that app for the Pokétch, well, I had it have Pokerus before I sent it over. What Pokerus is it's a virus that is beneficial to Pokemon. Without getting like too much into things, it doubles EVs, so it's gonna basically cut my time Eevee training those 3 Pokemon in half. And then let me just grab them. I don't know why I put Sync there. Sync, you can go in. I don't think it really matters. But I'm gonna have Kecleon spread Pokerus around. It's a virus that can spread to your other Pokemon that are in your party. So let me just grab Axel, Ryoga, and Casfall, because I want all of them to have Pokerus. Now, normally, Pokerus is incredibly difficult to get. It's even more rare than shiny Pokemon. And you can get it from fighting wild Pokemon. I believe the chance of finding it is like 1 in like 63,335 or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, the way it works is if you have a Pokemon in your party with Pokerus, it will spread to others that don't have it. Now, Pokerus will... The way to have it spread, like that chance will only last for a day. So, once Kecleon... Like, once a day has passed and this Kecleon is still in my party, then the Pokerus symbol will be replaced by like a little smiley face symbol. But it will still retain the effects, it just can't spread it anymore. So, what the idea is, most people will do is they'll have one Pokemon with Pokerus that they'll keep to spread around, and then they'll deposit that Pokemon in the PC, because if it's in the PC, then that doesn't affect Pokerus losing its ability to spread. So, let me just encounter a few wild Pokemon. You don't need to fight the wild Pokemon, you can just run away from them. And then eventually, the virus will spread to your other Pokemon. And even if it loses its ability to spread to others, it will still have its beneficial effects of doubling EVs. And the good thing is that that ability stacks with other items, like the Macho Brace that you can get in this game, which I don't have because I didn't catch a male and female Combee and show it to an NPC in Pastoria. Like, if I were to get the Macho Brace, that would further stack with Pokerus, meaning it would quadruple the EVs I would get from defeating a Pokemon, which that drastically shortens how long it takes to Evie train Pokemon. So right there, Axel has it. Just need to let it spread to Ryoga and Casfall, and then they'll be good. I'll be all set to Evie train them. I'm not letting it spread to like my main party members just because they don't really need it, and this is really only for Evie training these guys. So, yeah. Now, did that work? Nope. It does take a little bit for it to spread, but yeah, I don't know like what the chance is of it spreading to other party members, but yeah. Okay, there we go. So, is this gonna work? Is it gonna spread? It should. Ryoga, do you have it? No, neither of you two have it. Well, I guess I'll just cut to whenever they do get it. Okay, that took a lot longer than I expected it to, but all 3 of these Pokemon, plus Kecleon, I guess, now have Pokerus, so really the last step is to Evie train them. But again, this Pokerus is really helpful just because it cuts your time in half. Like fighting, for example, a Starly would give you 1 speed Eevee, but with Pokerus, it'll give you 2. And that adds up. With the Macho Brace, it becomes 4. So, things like that. Then there's other items as well that could make Eevee training easier, like just as easier, like without the Macho Brace, but still, it's really handy to have just because of how much of a time saver it is. And finally, one last thing I do want to show off is if you have a Pokemon with Pokerus and you talk to any of the nurses at the Pokemon Center, let me just heal up. And I believe they should say something. Right? Yep, your Pokemon may be infected with Pokerus. Little is known about the Pokerus except that they are microscopic life forms that attach to Pokemon, while infected Pokemon are said to grow exceptionally well. Indeed they do. And that's really it. So, yeah, now that that's done, now I can finally begin Eevee training these three. It's not going to take as much time now that they've been infected with Pokerus, but it will still take quite a bit of time. So let's talk about what Eevee training is. Eevee training is training the stats of a Pokemon. Whenever a Pokemon is knocked out, aside from that Pokemon giving experience points to those that participate in the battle, that Pokemon will also give out effort value points, or EVs depending on its species. The EVs they give normally correspond to a stat that they excel in. For example, a Zubat will give 1 speed EV, Graveler will give 2 defense EVs, Gengar will give 3 special attack EVs, and so on and so forth. There are even some species that will give out EVs in multiple stats. Do note that this only works in battles that you get experience from, so wild battles, trainer battles. This won't work in multiplayer battles or battles in the Battlefront here, so again, keep that in mind. And if you want to find out what EVs a Pokemon will give, you can always look that up online because the game will not readily tell you what EVs a Pokemon will give. So again, just look online. You can find them practically everywhere. So why is this important? Well, the more EVs a Pokemon has in a particular stat, the higher that stat will be. Think of it like strength training in real life, where if you focus on your arms more, then naturally you'll see growth in those more than other parts of your body that you don't exercise with. How do EVs influence stat growth? Every 4 EVs in the stat will equal 1 point to a Pokemon at level 100. For example, let's say a Pokemon at level 100 has a speed stat of 150 with 0 EVs. The same Pokemon of that species and level, but with 40 speed EVs, will have 10 extra speed points, putting them at 160 for their speed. This will have an effect at lower levels, though not nearly as drastic. Does this mean you can increase any stat to 999? Not really. Every Pokemon will have a limit of 510 EVs they can gain. You can find out if they hit the EV cap by talking to the effort lady in Sunyshore City and seeing if she gives you an effort ribbon. So with the 510 EV cap, does that mean you can invest all 510 of those EVs into a stat? No. In addition to the 510 EV cap, each stat can only have up to 255 EVs in a stat. That means if you want to max out a stat, then at most you can give it 252 EVs for an additional 63 points at level 100. Later generations made the EV cap to 252 instead of 255, since those extra 3 EVs wouldn't be doing anything anyways. So with the 510 EV cap, that means that at most you can max out up to 2 stats, which is 504 EVs between them, with 6 leftover EVs. 4 of those you can put into another stat and have 2 left over. Those 4 leftover EVs can make all the difference, such as making you outspeed something, or giving you that extra HP to give you an extra substitute use. While maxing out 2 stats and using the leftover 4 EVs in something else is a very common thing to do when EV training Pokemon, there are a multitude of ways to EV train a Pokemon. You can give it just enough speed EVs to outspeed certain Pokemon without maxing your speed, or putting enough EVs into a Pokemon's special attack and making sure there's enough left over for its attack stat if you're using a mix attacker. The possibilities are pretty much endless. Now with that said, EV training is a time-consuming thing. Knocking out 252 Zubat to max out a speed stat is very tedious. There are ways to make your EV training faster though. Shown in this video, there is Pokerus. Like I said earlier, it doubles the EVs a Pokemon receives, making that you only have to knock out 126 Zubat. You can save even more time by giving a Pokemon that you're EV training the Macho Brace. It's an item that doubles the EVs a Pokemon receives, and it stacks with Pokerus, quadrupling the EVs you would get. Suddenly, you only need to knock out 63 Zubat instead of 252. Or to make it faster, you can fight a ton of Golbat for 8 EVs instead. I namely choose to knock out weak wild Pokemon that give 1 EV in a stat because it allows me to meticulously fine-tune things. As an alternative, the Battlefront tier has the power items. These are namely the Power Weight for HP, Power Bracer for attack, Power Belt for defense, Power Lens for special attack, Power Band for special defense, and Power Anklet for speed. Each of these EVs will give 4 EVs in a given stat in addition to EVs you would normally earn. For example, if you knock out him a chop while holding the Power Bracer, you'll get the 1 attack Eevee that you would normally get, plus 4 attack Eevees from the Power Bracer for a total of 5 attack Eevees. And if that Pokemon had Pokerus, then that would be doubled to 10 attack Eevees. It's all a matter of preference if you want to use the Macho Brace over any of the power items. Then there's also vitamins, namely HP Up, Protein, Iron, Calcium, Zinc, and Carbos. These vitamins will increase their respective stat by 10 EVs, though if a stat has over 100 EVs, then you can't increase them further with those respective vitamins. At most, you can use up to 10 vitamins per stat. It's just a nice little head start if you really need it. So, what happens if you mess up while Evie training? Say you put in extra EVs in a stat that you don't want. Well, there are berries that reduce EVs. The Pomeg Berry reduces HP, Kelpsie Berry for attack, Qualot Berry for defense, Hondu Berry for special attack, Greppa Berry for special defense, and Tomato Berry for speed. Each of these berries will lower their respective EVs by 10 points in addition to increasing friendship. Plus, you can farm these due to them being berries. With all of these at your disposal, you can customize your Pokemon stats however you see fit. So let's move on to something else. Whereas EVs are something that can be customized, individual values or IVs cannot. When a Pokemon is encountered or you receive an egg, that Pokemon's IVs are set in stone, cannot be changed whatsoever. Each stat can have an IV between 0 and 31, meaning that that's the best a stat can be practically. The IV judge in the battle tower can tell you what a Pokemon's best IV is, or IVs, while the characteristic in a Pokemon summary screen will give you a hint towards that. For example, if a Pokemon likes to thrash about, that means its highest IV, or one of them at the very least, is going to be attack. Now, there are tools online where you can calculate what a Pokemon's IVs are if you're really curious, because this is something the game won't tell you, like with EVs. And there are ways to get Pokemon with high IVs, like passing them down through breeding and things like that, which have gotten easier as later games have come out, but breeding is primarily the method that people like to use to pass down multiple high IVs. In the case of my 3 team members that I'm using for the Battlefront here, I went through some trial and error when breeding them to at least make sure they had an IV of 31 in the stats I wanted to Eevee train them in. Anyways, let's talk about the Eevee training process for these 3. Ryoga is my primary sweeper. The goal here is to max out his attack and speed. When he's fully evolved into Garchomp, he'll be able to outspeed nearly everything and hit incredibly hard with powerful moves like Outrage and Earthquake. As for the last offensive move, I have options like Fire Fang or Stone Edge to get rid of ice types in a pinch, and just for the extra type coverage. In addition, having Swords Dance and a Life Orb will further boost the damage that he's capable of inflicting. He's basically the main powerhouse of the team, and is going to be dealing the most damage. With Castfall here, I did show some footage of me seemingly Eevee training him when I was showing off the Poke Radar, but I had to scrap that and restart because I counted wrong. Oops. Anyways, with Castfall, I went with a different approach when Eevee training him. His attack stat is still maxed out so he can hit like a truck, and his HP stat is nearly maxed out to increase his bulk. Scizzor's typing allows it to switch into hits that would be super effective on both of its teammates, while its only weakness to fire is something that its teammates can switch into in return. He's going to be holding the Choice Band, coupled with his already incredible attack stat, which means he's going to be hitting really hard. His main offensive move is going to be Bullet Punch, which gets boosted thanks to Technician, and it has priority, meaning it's going to be a very, very useful move. It's one of the things that made Scizzor such a dominating force back in the Platinum days, and I just had to take advantage of it, honestly. Then of course there's U-Turn, which I can use to switch out when needed. Superpower is there for another hard-hitting move, and Pursuit is there for the rare case if an opponent switches out. Axel here is the last team member. Aside from my bias with Swampert being my favorite Pokemon, I feel he is a really good complement to my team. I needed a special attacker, and he fit the bill quite perfectly. His grass weakness is mitigated by having Castfall on the team, and his natural bulkiness is just bolstered by EVs and HP, which means that he can just take super effective hits meant for the other two very well. He's essentially the special tank in the group. The leftovers will give him passive healing to further increase his bulk. Earth Power and Hydro Pump are its main moves of choice for dealing a ton of damage thanks to same type attack bonus and having a maxed out special attack stat. Now, for a while, I was debating on whether to run Surf over Hydro Pump, just due to having more accuracy, but the downgrade in power was ultimately what made me decide against it, because I already have Earth Power for that, so Surf would just basically be another Earth Power with a different type, and I felt like Earth Power is already reliable enough. Hydro Pump, while its accuracy isn't the best, I feel it's gonna be useful enough, plus it already deals a ton of damage. So there's that. And Ice Beam is just for additional coverage. While it's unlikely I'll be keeping Axel in for grass types, it can be useful in a pinch. Plus there's always the powerful dragon types that I can be going up against with a 4 times weakness to ice, just in case Ryoga is down. Oh, and just because Swampert is my favorite Pokemon, here's the moment Axel evolves into one. So after a lot of grinding, my team for the Battlefront tier is pretty much done. They're all level 50 because that's the minimum level that you need to participate in the Battlefront tier. But let's take a look at my team. My lead is usually going to be Ryoga here because he is just incredibly fast, hits really hard. Just look at his attack and speed stats. And here are the moves that he has. He has Outrage, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Sword Stance. Sword Stance is just going to boost his attack stat to astronomical levels. And Outrage and Earthquake are going to be the main moves that I use. Stone Edge is there as a last resort against, like, ice types, really. But that's, again, as a last resort. And he's holding a Life Orb to give him just that extra bit of punch to do that extra bit of damage that might make or break a game. Now, Scizor here, Casval, does not have a hold item just yet. The hold item I want on him is the Choice Band, which I don't have. You can only get it here in the Battlefront tier, and I don't have any battle points for it just yet, so I'm going to need to get that at some point. But here are the moves, or here's his stats first off. Look at that. HP is pretty good, attack is really nice, and defense is pretty good as well. Special defense is not that bad either. So he's going to be taking quite a bit of hits, but here are the moves that Casval has. U-Turn is going to be there in case I need a quick switch from him. Bullet Punch is going to be the main powerhouse move for him, just because it gets the boost from Technician, same type attack bonus, and a Choice Band. And Priority means it's going to be dealing a ton of damage. It can be there for cleanup at the end, or in the middle of a game. It's just really, really strong. So, there. And then Superpower is just another really hard-hitting move. And Pursuit, although I don't expect the AI to switch a lot, it's going to be handy. Plus, it could take care of some Psychic types. Although U-Turn is there for that as well. And then last but not least is Axel. Axel has the leftovers just to give him some form of recovery because he doesn't really have a way of recovering HP otherwise. And stats are pretty much well-rounded. High special attack there because he's going to be my special attacker, but his defenses are also pretty good because he'll be able to take hits really well. Same with his HP. And here are the moves that Axel has. Hydro Pump, because powerful water type move. Earth Power, because that's going to be my most reliable move, gets the same type attack bonus. I was debating on keeping Surf on Axel or not, but I already have Earth Power as a reliable move, and Hydro Pump is just going to be that extra bit of oomph that Axel might need. Ice Beam is there for coverage as well, and Protect, just to scout what the opponent is going to use, and to also get some healing from leftovers as well. But yeah, that's my team that I'm going to be going with for the Battlefront tier. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid team. I just need the Choice Band to finally top things off with Casval, but other than that, I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the Battlefront tier, which we can finally do in the next episode. What facility I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to spoil here, so you're going to have to wait until the next episode to see what I take on first. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time for some more Pokemon Platinum, I am both excited and anxious to take on the Battlefront here because it's a very, very tough place. Anyways, that's gonna be it. Later!